Hey, how's it going? We're getting closer to Halloween, and next week, Antlers will be hitting theaters, a new horror movie produced by Guillermo Del Toro. Yeah, so because of that, I thought it would be an amazing idea to bring you like the first famous movie by Del Toro. This movie is about an old man who becomes a vampire using an old device. As always, before we begin, remember to hit that subscribe button if you like the content, because seriously, it helps a lot. It helps a lot. Now, time to get spooky. The story begins with another story about an alchemist who in 1536 developed a strange device using a bug that allowed the user to live for a long time. Though you're not invulnerable to earthquakes and certainly not getting prettier. The device is hidden inside this statue and then lost. Then we move to 1987, where we meet Jesus Gris, Mercedes, his wife, and their granddaughter, Aurora. Mr. Gris is the owner of an antique shop. One day, a suspicious man comes to the shop looking at different statues until he finds one of an angel, which was wrapped in paper. Mr. Gris takes the statue to his desk, and while he's doing a puzzle with Aurora, cockroaches start emerging from the statue, letting us know it's hollow. He opens it because he needs to get rid of those disgusting bugs, but instead finds a strange device. At that moment, we cut to Ron Perlman, who sent the suspicious man to look for angel statues like that one. Ron puts on a mask and goes to his uncle, informing the last one about the statue. The uncle is like, "So what are you waiting for? Go get it." But Ron is like, "No, not anymore, uncle, that's an obsession." But the uncle is the one in charge here, so Perlman ends up going. He buys the statue for $8,000.
But then, no es mi dinero.
Oh, and Ron Perlman wants his nose done, so he asks Mr. Gris and Aurora what they think about some nose shapes and sizes. What a random thing, but it makes Perlman just, look just like a regular and likable guy. Later that day, Mr. Gris tries to open the device he found. He wins the thing while holding it, and some legs come out. Then grabs the hand of the man, and even though he manages to remove the thing, there is a lot of blood on it. His wife performs first aid, extracting a sting from the wound, and Mr. Gris prefers to lie about the origin of the cut. But things won't be that easy, as that night Mr. Gris gets freaking thirsty, hot, and is scratching his hand so hard, I thought he would rip it off. For some reason, he thinks the only cure for that itch was to use the device again, and it works, wow, that thing is so handy. The next morning, this gentleman feels younger and stronger, so decides to get rid of that grandpa-style mustache and glasses. He gets to the shop, but it's not in the best state. There he finds a business card with the name Angel de la Guardia, which is Ron Perlman's character's name. He goes to the address on the car and meets with the uncle, who says he's dying piece by piece. Literally, he's got a collection of pieces of him. And that's why he's looking for the device. The man steals a shoebox Mr. Gris brought with him, thinking the thing is inside. At that point, it's clear for him that Mr. Gris used it before. Our protagonist is dismissed, but joke's on you, man, because the box only had a lock inside. When Mr. Gris gets home, he can't find his precious, but soon realizes his granddaughter must have hid it, as she thinks it's harming the man, but he convinces her it's not like that. He then uses it again and goes to a party with his family. A party where he sees a man having a nosebleed, and Mr. Gris is like, "Oh, tasty." He follows the man to the bathroom, and when the latter leaves, Mr. Gris licks the blood from the floor until he's kicked by Angel. He takes Mr. Gris with him, making it clear Angel is just there because of his uncle, and he proceeds to shake the old man a bit. But it looks like he's got a heavy hand cause Mr. Gris dies. Okay, he doesn't. But it seems like he's dead, so Angel puts him in the car and then throws the car from a cliff. Now Mr. Gris is dead. That's how this movie ends. Okay, it doesn't. Angel is having a freaking hard time with his uncle, so he goes to the service of Mr. Gris to make sure he's dead, and yes, he's dead, yes. But just before Mr. Gris is cremated, he's able to escape, certainly not looking the best in any way. He goes back to his house where Aurora is surprisingly not surprised. He doesn't say anything to his wife, and after realizing the sunlight is deadly now, he goes to sleep inside a toy box. Mr. Grease decides to visit the uncle without being invited because he remembers the uncle said he had instructions on how to use the device properly. And you know, Mr. Grease doesn't want to look like a zombie for the rest of his life. Aurora goes with him without being noticed, but that ends up being a good thing as she's able to open the door of the room and also finds the book with the information. But at that moment, the uncle wakes up. He says Mr. Grease just has to peel off his skin, as under he'll find a new one, and that's true. But the uncle adds, Mr. Grease also needs some human blood. That doesn't sound good, does it? Mr. Grease just wants a way out. The uncle says there's a way out, while smiling madly like Agent Smith from The Matrix. Mr. Grease shows him the device and the uncle stabs him, ready to finish the old man with a stab to the heart. Thankfully, Aurora saves him once again, once again. Mr. Grease takes advantage of that and takes a sip of blood at the same time that Angel gets to the room. Angel finds the uncle is still alive but finishes the job. Then Mr. Grease hits Angel and he and Aurora run through a window. Angel chases them, while I'm thinking he should just let them go. He'll inherit all the money, he doesn't have that terrible uncle anymore. Come on, man. Seriously, come on. They get to the roof of the building and the two men start fighting, more like Angel is beating the old man. That's when Mr. Grease decides to jump with Angel to their death. But once again, Aurora proves to be the best character in this movie, as she uses the device to keep his grandpa alive. Too bad, she got a cut in his hand and Mr. Grease is about to eat her. He manages to stop his impulses and destroys the device, smashing it with a rock. Sadly, that means he'll die, but at least he does it at home with his wife and Aurora. And that's about it. I gotta say, I love Guillermo Del Toro movies. And this one, it has, now that I'm thinking about it, all his movies, they have this sad ending, you know? Even though I've seen this movie before, I was sure that Mr. Grease would be alive by the end of the movie. So, I don't know. I don't know how to feel about that. And also, poor Aurora. He went through, so many things. It must be such a terrible, such a terrible experience for a child. But well, I'm David. Have a good day and see you soon. Bye.